Hey everybody and welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me once again. I do really appreciate it. In today's video we've got an amazing project to talk about. It is a super hot project. It's super hot. In fact, it is a hot token. And when I say hot token, I mean it's actually called hot. Oh, sorry, just one moment. Just one moment. I need to take this just really quick. Lord Crypto, what are you calling for? Ah, my young Padawan. Are you ready to shill our project and embrace the dark side? Aren't you a bit hot in that cloak? Me? Oh, mine's not hot. Well, look, I've got to get back. They're waiting for me to do the video. I've got to go too. I think we have a board meeting. Alright guys, so in today's video we are talking about Holochain and its placeholder token called HOT. Before we get into this one though, I'd really appreciate if you could like and subscribe and of course share this video with your friends. YouTube are actively trying to suppress crypto content on the platform, so it's up to us to share the word about what projects and what cryptos are doing well, and you guys need to help as well by sharing this where you can. Let's fight back against YouTube censorship and let's get people knowing all about cryptocurrencies and the amazing projects out there in the space. Now, my long-term subscribers and followers are going to recognize Holo because it is a project that I got pretty excited about a couple of years ago when I first came across this one. There was a lot of reason to be hyped about it. It was doing something very different, especially with the way it was approaching its actual ICO raise. It was actually starting off with a product, something that a lot of these cryptocurrencies were not doing back in 2017 and 2018, but this one was doing that, so it caught my attention straight away. But unfortunately, it's been a slow burner. There's been plenty of FUD about it as well. And the bear market has just not helped its cause. We're back into the bull market now, and things do seem to be moving along very quickly again for Holo. So we're going to talk about it in tonight's video. We're going to talk about, of course, what it is, how it works, and more importantly, I'm going to be telling you at the end of this video what I expect the price of Holo to do and why I'm bullish about it once more. So please make sure you stick around until the end of the video to find out all of those reasons and more. But first, a warning. Of course, guys, I need you to all remember that this is not financial advice. I am not telling you what to buy or how to buy it or why to buy it. I'm just telling you my opinion as a long-term trader and investor in the crypto space. I'm telling you why I am interested in this project, why I feel bullish about it, and what I find interesting about it. Please do your own research. Of course, use this video as a starting point for your own research, but make sure that you look into this project fully before you make any investment decisions. And now, back to the video. So effectively, Holochain is a peer-to-peer distributed framework for decentralized apps, which on the Holochain they actually call HAPs, or Holo apps. Now, it is really important to quickly point out that Holochain is not a blockchain in the traditional sense. And it's funny saying traditional because blockchain technology itself is only just over 10 years old. But Holochain is a bit different, and it's based on something called DHT, and we're going to talk about that in the video a little bit when we talk about how it all works. First up, a little bit about the history of Holo, because this is a project that actually started back in 2017. And like I said, it's been a bit of a slow burner, so I want to explain what's been going on in the last couple of years. Now, Holochain actually began in early 2017, and it was actually a project started by Arthur Brock and Eric Harris Braun. Now, these two had actually been working together for years prior to this, working on a project called the Metacurrency Project. So they've been heavily involved in cryptocurrencies from as early as Bitcoin itself was first developed. Now, actually, they decided to do something very different. In fact, instead of doing their ICO first, they actually ran an Indiegogo campaign where they sold what they've called the Holoports. And the Holoport devices are basically nodes for the network. The thing that makes these nodes different is that they're designed to be like home usable devices. They look really interesting. They look quite cool, actually, to be honest. And they're meant to be super easy to set up. So they are designed for retail use. You buy one, you plug it in, follow the instructions, and you leave it on your desk or on your media entertainment center and let it do its thing. But by running one of these Holoport nodes, you're actually supporting the network. You're actually providing storage for it as well as processing power, effectively acting like a server on the Holochain itself. Now, this campaign actually launched in December of 2017, and it was a very successful campaign. It was super clever. They were testing the market to see if there was enough interest in getting people, normal people, to buy up the nodes so that they wouldn't have to worry about miners taking control of the network. The whole point of it was it's meant to be the decentralized web, and it's for the people, not for big businesses. So in doing this, they were able to test the market and make sure that there was actually some real interest for it. And interest there definitely was. They raised over $1 million in funding and actually had well over 2,000 contributors, selling, or pre-selling I should say, 2,114 Holoport nodes. And of those people, they came from 69 different countries. So already just after doing the Indiegogo campaign, they knew that they would be able to run a real decentralized network by different people across different countries. Now, the original roadmap was for these devices, these Holoports, to actually be shipped by spring of 2018. And that's where the first point of contention turns up for Holo. Like I said, this project has been a slow burn, and there have been some upsets, to say the least. One of those is the slow pace at which these devices actually ended up coming out. Now, there are 3 models of Holoport. Each one has a different level of computing power, and I guess we'll actually end up with a different reward ratio. We'll talk about rewards in a moment. But the Holoport Plus and the Holoport itself, it looks like they only actually came out in January of 2020. So a huge delay on those being shipped. And anybody who's been waiting for the smaller, cheaper Holoport Nano, they're still waiting for those. So you can understand why some people have been pretty bearish about this project as a result of that product not being shipped as promised. However, there are some developments in the project that I am feeling do indicate that things are about to go on track properly, and we'll talk about those in this video a little bit down the line. In April 2018, they then ran their ICO, and they actually managed to raise a whopping $20 million, actually just over $20 million. So you can see that it was a very successful launch, and it should have meant really for a very successful project from the offset. So how does Holochain actually work then? If it's not a blockchain, or at least not a blockchain as we know them, what is it and how does it actually work then? So Holochain actually operates on an agent-centric approach where they actually use something called a RRDHT. Now, a DHT is a distributed hash table. Effectively, what this means is that the agent is the node. It actually keeps a copy of its own blockchain. Each node records its own processes, and those processes are added to its own chain. It's the results that are then added to the public Holochain, and those are verified using the RRDHT. Now, if you want to know a bit more about how RRDHT works, please hit the like button for this video, and I will make sure I put together an animated video explaining how this concept works, because it is a little bit more complicated than blockchain on its own. So it probably deserves a video of its own. I'll do that if you guys are interested enough, so let me know. The upside of using this DHT instead of your traditional blockchain is that it doesn't require proof of work or proof of stake, meaning that it's incredibly fast, very efficient, and transactions are 10,000 times cheaper than they are on Ethereum. So instead of proof of stake, what actually happens is that the agents, the nodes, the Holoports, they actually get rewarded with something called Holo Fuel for storing data and for processing the dApps that are running on the network. The Holo Fuel can also be used for in-app purchases and for microtransactions. Effectively, dApps built on the network are distributed across the whole network, and they are stored on different nodes or different Holoports. The whole system is able to shard, so it's incredibly scalable, which also means that the more nodes added to the network, the more effective it becomes. Now, with this project, it's also worth noting who's behind it. So, as I said, you've got Arthur Brock, who has been the CEO of Holochain now, and the co-founder of it from the beginning. He has been involved in cryptocurrency since Bitcoin, along with Eric Harris Braun, who actually developed some peer-to-peer software, communication software, back in the 90s. You then have Mary Camacho, who is the CEO of the Holohost side of the business. Now, if you've heard FUD about the company, then it's probably the FUD about Mary Camacho that you've heard about. Now, she was central to some controversy a little while back, where some trolls had found out some information about a particular hobby that Mary has, and decided to expose that to the rest of the world. Now, this hobby is not illegal, and, it's a bit of a quirky one, but it's usually the sort of thing that people like to kind of keep private. I'm not going to go into details on it. I don't think it's worth doing that. At the end of the day, there's an accusation that money had been misappropriated to fund this hobby, but there was never any evidence of that. It looked like it was a good attempt at FUD, and fortunately, it didn't have a massive impact on the price of Holo at the time. The sad bit is that it unfortunately acted as a distraction from what Holo was actually doing, and of course from the fact that Mary Camacho is incredibly qualified for her role as CEO there, with loads of years of experience running businesses and helping to actually incubate new businesses and startups for people as well. So it's a real shame that that happened. Luckily enough, it didn't damage Holo in the end, and she's still there, and still they're plowing through with the project and continuing to make the project move forward. So why am I bullish about Holochain and HOT token again then, I guess is what you're wondering. Isn't it a slow burner, James? Is this another Cardano ADA? I bet you're probably wondering. Well, no, it's not another Cardano ADA. I mean, ADA is in fact designed to be a slow burner. Every approach they're taking to that project is meticulous in order to make it scientific and sustainable. Holo, unfortunately, was a slow burner because they decided they were going to go down the product route. And let's face it, any of these Indiegogo Kickstarter projects, if you're building something, it's probably more often than not, something's going to go wrong. And it seemed like that happened a lot during the process. Good news is the bigger Holoports have gone out. Finally, the Holochain and the Holoports themselves are finally in testing. The team actually upgraded the Holochain to what they call Holochain RSM late 2020 and fixed a lot of the problems they were suffering with the system in doing so. As a result of this, they were able to give a live demo of their first ever Holo app on the network. And networking has finally been enabled on them. Now, it's important to point out that HOT token itself is an ERC20 placeholder token for what should be Holo Fuel. So when they actually are ready to switch over to Holo Fuel and do that, then there will be a one-to-one swap. Holo Fuel is still in development and testing, but now that they've actually switched over to this Holochain RSM, apparently it looks like the testing for this has actually become easier. It looks like they found ways around the problems they were suffering with before, and I do feel like it's on the verge of them actually going towards mainnet launch. On the actual roadmap, they are now only 3 steps away from the Holo Fuel swap. Now, that one-to-one swap will mean that the HOT that you swap will not actually be burned. It will be held in a reserve, but that will be used as a bridge so that you can actually swap your Holo Fuel out into HOT and then use it on exchanges. Now, there are some really bullish predictions out there where people are saying that Holo is going to go to $1. Now, I'm going to say that I feel that's a bit of a stretch. Right now, Holo is literally only at 1 cent. But I certainly feel that Holo could easily 5x in the short term. And we have to remember, Holo Fuel is going to be a utility token. It will be used to pay for storage. It will be used to pay for processing and using dApps on the Holo chain itself, which means that actually, normally we look at things, we look at the market cap and the total supply of tokens, but actually, you know, it means that the price could exceed that relation, that ratio that we normally have with those prices, due to the fact that, of course, it's going to be supply and demand, but also, of course, you've got to remember, if people start using Holochain properly, then the demand will go up for it. So I definitely think that this is a project that could 5x in the short term, and I think maybe 10x in the mid. Could it get to $1? I think, well, it would have to be a huge amount of users on the network, but certainly I think that we could see ourselves getting up to 10 cents or maybe even more. But of course, it will, of course, depend on what everything else does in the market, because that is a big ask of any project. Certainly, though, I think that in the short term, this is a very easy one to gain on, and I do see, obviously it's had a bit of a pump at the moment. I'll be looking for the price to come back a little bit and then re-enter into Holo. I did buy it years ago and got rid of it because it was a slow burner, guys, but now I'm definitely much more bullish about it. I think that this one could go to 10 cents quite easily, which is still some impressive gains in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think though in the comments down below, and of course if you enjoyed this video, please do make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so that you will be updated about all of the videos that I put out, because there's going to be a few more of them. I'm going to make sure of that for you guys, okay? Like I say, thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!